Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. My name is Derek DeBerger. With me, as always, is Sam Roth.
Hey, guys.
At the very end, Sam gives a crazy take about the Olympics.
I don't think it's crazy. The Olympics are here, and we're here for it.
If you watch to the end, you'll see that. I'm just talking about that because we record these after we film the episodes.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first thing we talk about is our preview for the Big 12 this season in football.
Football's almost here.
We do all our predictions for every team in the Big 12 who we think's going to win. We also
Where do we have Colorado? You'll see.
Yeah, you will see. We also talk about Alabama naming their field after a famed coach. Montana State making a massive investment into football.
They got the money.
Connor Stalions having a documentary made off of him. And then, of course, at the end, we talk about the Olympics. Hope you liked the episode. Hope you subscribe if you liked the episode. And we hope to see you in there. So, bye-bye. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. It's Derek DeBerger and Sam Roth.
How we doing, guys?
We did it last year in our first ever year doing the podcast. We're going to do it again. We're getting closer to the football season, so now we are just previewing every power conference before the season starts.
Absolutely.
Last year, of course, we had 5 conferences.
Now we're down to 4.
Preview. Yeah.
It's funny how that works, isn't it?
It's actually, quick side note, next year we're guaranteed to have 4 again.
Oh, there you go.
Because the
Miranda rights.
No, not Miranda rights. Miranda rights. That's when you get arrested.
Right.
What are you talking about? Okay. No, the Florida State and Clemson,
They're stuck.
It got leaked that they are not going to give the notice by the deadline to get out for next academic year or athletic year.
For the ACC.
Yes, so
Gotcha.
they're stuck in the ACC at least until 2026.
How about that?
We don't really talk about that often because I think, honestly, there's not much to talk about. I think most people that do kind of just make stuff up and be like, this is what I'm hearing. But, that's actual news.
Mm-hmm.
But on to the conference predictions, and I don't know why I said of course, but we're going in order of when the conferences had their media day. The very first conference to have their media day was the Big 12.
Sure was.
So that's who we are starting with.
How about that?
All right.
Let's get into it.
You want to just say who we have
Sure.
winning the regular season Big 12?
Sure.
All right. Number 1, I've got Utah.
I've got Kansas State.
So Utah, I have them going undefeated.
I have Kansas State going undefeated in the conference.
Oh, wow. We are very high on 2 different teams.
And then I have Utah tied for second with 3 other teams.
Okay. Do you know what the tiebreakers are for those teams?
No clue.
So we're using playoff predictor. It's actually something we didn't have last year. It makes it so much easier. Yeah, you already figured it out. You can playoff predictor is great. It's very, very helpful. Wish we had it last year, but we didn't.
Tiebreaker, I have Utah beating Arizona.
That's the tiebreaker?
Yeah, because Arizona's third. And then
Kansas is also tied with them.
Yeah, and then Arizona loses to Kansas State.
Just Kansas State beat. You have Kansas. Okay, so that tracks. Yeah, so your championship game would be
Utah and
Kansas State and Utah.
Yeah.
Both 11-1 I see going into that matchup.
It's kind of crazy. I have 4 teams 11-1. I don't know how I managed that.
Well, I have Utah going undefeated.
Both very good teams.
And I have them facing Arizona in the
Arizona's right there
game.
for me, 11-1. So we're both very high on Utah and Arizona. I see comparing mine to yours. I have Kansas 4th. You have them 8th.
I just have a lot of teams kind of like cannibalizing each other in the Big 12. So Utah, I have them winning the regular season, going 12-0. Arizona, who also, they tie, in my predictions, they tie with West Virginia. Both of them go 7-2 in conference.
Yeah.
Their overall records are 9-3.
I hate to hear that.
Look, man, West Virginia's going to be solid.
Really?
Yeah.
I have them finishing 14th.
God, you hate West Virginia.
They're going to go 2-10 with only Cincinnati and Arizona State below them.
That's rough.
I think it's accurate. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, in my mind, Utah's like the class of the Big 12 this upcoming season. I think.
With Cam Rising back, hopefully.
Cam Rising back, their offense is going to be competent. Their defense is still going to be really, really good. They lost a lot of pieces in their secondary.
They did.
But
Cole Bishop was quality.
They brought in a ton of transfers in the secondary.
So hopefully fill those gaps.
I'm confident that it's going to work out.
So we both agree that Arizona's going to be good even without a Jed Fish because they kept a lot of the talent that they had.
Absolutely,
there.
Yeah.
So do we think Jed Fish is just not a good coach, or do we just think that the talent knows what they need to do?
So a lot of times you'll see this, and honestly, we're going to get to this later with Baylor, but Matt Rule, he built like a power basically in like 3 years at Baylor. They were incredible. Dave Aranda stepped in, and they were just as incredible year one. They didn't drop off one bit, and then they just steadily got worse as he got more of his own players in. You see this a lot with coaches where
it's not their players.
Yeah, they come into a good situation and they just pop immediately, but either they're not a recruiter or they're not that good a tactician. So as they get their own guys in there or there's more of a book out on them, they start to do worse. I'm not necessarily saying Brennan, who is the new coach at Arizona, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I just think they're going to have a good year one at least.
Right. Do you think it's more so the case of just like a coach really isn't there? I mean, sure, you got to recruit, sure, you got to coach, you got to be all those good things, right? Like you got to bring in talent and then coach that talent. But do you also think it's just a factor of like culture? Like you have to set the culture, and then once a coach leaves, you slowly lose the culture as guys phase out from that old regime to a new regime? I think that could be
part of it too, yeah. Absolutely.
Because I think that could be an interesting aspect where it's like, all right, like this is the way we do it here, and it's like coaches are saying it, but this is the way we do it, and the leaders and the seniors are like, this is the expectations.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it, but I tend to think it's more so just like when coaches walk into a good situation, because I think if a coach doesn't foster a good culture, I think that shift kind of happens very quickly.
I'm just also comparing ours too. For the most part, we're pretty much high on very similar teams. Like I would say I'm more high on. No, not really. I mean, like UCF, you're more high on than I am. You have UCF 7th. I have them 11th, which is honestly only a 2-3 win difference. Like not too major. What about your bottom teams? Who's the dead last team for you?
I've got a 3-way tie, basically, between Baylor, Arizona State, and Houston.
Okay.
And I think those teams are just going to beat up on each other.
Interesting.
Except I don't think. No, I didn't see. No, I don't have Arizona State beating Baylor or Houston. Their one conference win comes against BYU.
Interesting.
I predicted.
I have them 0-9.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're that good. And then I have Cincinnati 1-8. I think Satterfield's not a good coach.
I think Satterfield is just an average power. He's average to below average power conference coach. He's a good G5 coach. I don't think he's a power conference coach. But
we also have
Cincinnati's schedule is so easy.
Yeah, it is. But they still go 3-9 for me.
I had them going 5-7.
Who do I have them beating? I have them beating Townsend.
Miami of Ohio, their rival, and then Arizona
State. Yeah. I don't know.
I am noticing. So Baylor is tied for the bottom for me. You have Baylor going 8-4.
I think it was more so just the name. I think they went 6-6 last year, and I was like,
they went 3-9 last year.
Ooh, never mind. Maybe I need to change that. I don't know. I just went off name recognition. I didn't like these middle tier teams like Baylor, Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech. Like I don't really know too much about these teams, to be honest. Like I know where the bottom is. Like I knew Houston sucked. I knew Arizona State sucked. I think Cincinnati's gonna be really bad, and I think we all agree on that. From what we gather, and then I know who the top end teams are. Like I know. Like, I think there's 5 teams that could realistically win the Big 12. And I think that's Utah, Kansas State, Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Arizona. Like, I think that's the realistic 5 for me.
I think you could include West Virginia, and like a real dark horse would be like Iowa State, maybe Central Florida. I think the
I hope you're wrong.
I just the way that I view the Big 12, it's Utah and then everybody else.
I don't know, because I feel like Oklahoma State won it last year. They didn't seem to lose too many guys.
They made it to the championship game. They lost to Texas.
Right, but I mean, like, basically, they were good last year. Have a lot of returning pieces. I think Arizona coming in with what they did in the Pac-12, same with the Utah, are going to be pretty good. And then you also got like Kansas. Hopefully, if Jalen Daniels can stay healthy. That's a big if.
If Jalen Daniels stays healthy, they can be fantastic.
And also, I like Lance Leipold as a coach. I think he's a very good coach.
Yeah, I think he is too.
And then Chris Kleiman, you can't count him out. I mean, they basically shipped off Will Howard.
Yeah,
for Avery Johnson.
Yeah,
who went to Ohio State.
No, I mean, you know how I feel about Chris Kleiman. Love Chris Kleiman.
I think Kansas has really good football this year. And
I do
really good coaches.
My prediction is I just picked them to lose some games that I think they shouldn't, simply based off of health.
Here's the issue for me is that I look at it from this perspective of like, I try to rank the teams 1 to whatever it is, 16 in the Big 12 now.
It is 16, yes.
So 1 to 16, right? So what ends up happening is that I have teams to where I literally rank them 1 to whatever, which never happens. It'll never happen where like my 6th best team is probably going to lose to like the 9th best team at some point in the season, you know?
Sure.
Like
Sorry about that, everybody.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. We had some technical difficulties. We figured it out.
Yeah.
But we're all good.
How about that? We were talking about the Big 12 at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly where we got cut off from, but
let's start a new conversation here with the Big 12.
Sure.
And that's one that, let's be honest, it's the one that most people want to talk about. What do you have Colorado doing this year?
Oh my goodness. They're not going bowling. They're 5-7.
Okay. I also have them going 5-7.
I don't have them. Who do you have? Let's see.
Yeah, let's compare our records for Colorado, because when I picked them to go 5-7, I was a little shocked because I was like, okay, well, I think that they're going to win I think they're going to go to a bowl this year. That's what I believed.
See, I think me and you have different games. I have them losing week 1.
I have them winning. So week 1 they play North Dakota State.
Yeah.
I have them beating North Dakota State.
But then I have them beating Nebraska.
I have them losing to Nebraska.
I have them beating Colorado State.
Okay, I've got them.
Wow, we just literally picked different games.
Not entirely. I have them beating Colorado State. Their wins for me are North Dakota State, Colorado State, Baylor, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State.
I have them beating. Oh, wow, you have beat them Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Interesting. I have their wins against Texas Tech, Cincinnati, Central Florida, Colorado State, and Nebraska. I have them going 1-5 at home this year. And you have them 1-5 away. So we have the exact opposite home and away records.
Yeah.
I think yours is more accurate.
That's a wild prediction to have them going.
They're
such a good record on the road.
Yeah, their only win for me at home is Cincinnati. Whereas they beat Central Florida, Colorado State, Nebraska, and Texas Tech on the road.
I don't know. I just think that they brought in a lot of transfers on both the offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of guys. I'm not entirely sure that their skill positions are going to be as good as they were last year. But they still have Shedeur Sanders. They still have Travis Hunter. I don't know why I said it, Hunter. But they've still got him.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two best players by a mile.
Right.
And you have to imagine they're going to be even better.
Mm.
I just think that if the offensive and defensive lines are good,
yeah,
I do think that they have bowl potential. I don't think they got any breaks though. Year 1 in the Big 12. I mean, we were talking about who we think the top teams are. They play, of those top teams, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Utah, Kansas State, and Arizona.
Mm.
That's like the 5. So the preseason media poll, they picked Utah to win, and then after that, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Arizona. Those are the 5 teams that everyone thinks are the best in the conference.
That's what
Colorado
I said
has
too.
to play all of them.
Yeah. See, they have them projected 11th. I have them 10th.
I don't think I have them doing very well in conference. Yeah, I have them tied for 12th with Cincinnati, but having the tiebreaker over them.
Man, it's just like, will the pieces fit, really? Because last year on defense, it did not fit. And
no,
it is very interesting because you would think with Dion and his specialties and what position he played in collegiate and professionally that the defense would be sound and not the offense.
I mean, I think we've seen enough now. Like, he's a CEO coach. He's not someone who's going to call plays on defense. You know, he was never a coordinator. And I'm not like to be a CEO coach is not a bad thing. Some of the best coaches of all time were CEO coaches. Mm-hmm. They delegate, and that's fine. That like takes a certain skill set, and you can be good at that. You could be bad at that, like any other type of coach. I just think that I think that his position though was fine. Like, they had a good secondary.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter was incredible. And even behind Travis Hunter, it was a step down, but it's still solid.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you put Travis Hunter in there, he just elevates everyone else. And so their secondary was, when he was healthy, was very good. He also played a little wide receiver. They had good skill positions.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was in the trenches was the issue, and they brought in a ton of transfers. You're right. It's all about how does it mesh.
Oh, yeah.
Does it mesh?
Because I mean, like, it's one thing to plug in holes for transfer window, but then it's also another thing to just bring in a whole new team.
Yeah,
for
basically.
Transfer, and it's like, I truly believe in certain positions, especially like your O-line, those guys got to be a unit. It doesn't matter if one guy's really stellar.
Here's what I'm seeing.
They're gonna find the weak point in the wall and then break through.
So, I have them losing to Nebraska, UCF, Kansas State, Arizona, Texas Tech, Utah, and Kansas.
Right.
If Colorado is good this coming year, if they are much improved, especially in the trenches, I could see them getting the win over Nebraska, Central Florida, Texas Tech. I mean, that's 3 more wins. You're sitting at 8-4.
Yeah, and that's a drastically different result on the season.
Yes. Or I could see them, getting 2 out of those 3 and getting a win that they shouldn't.
It could happen.
I think
mediocrity is in store for another Colorado season, and honestly, until I see something different, I don't know what it's going to take for them to get over that hump.
I could see that too. I could see them. I mean, I literally predicted them going 5-7.
Right.
But no, they did not get any breaks with the schedule. None whatsoever. Did you see Paul Feinbaum?
I can't stand that guy.
He's stupid. He's incredibly stupid.
He's just an SEC talking head.
Yeah. Well, so you know how he is a departure from our Big 12 predictions, but
I saw his Lane Kiffin stuff.
I didn't see him say anything.
Okay, sorry.
Lane Kiffin. But no, we'll probably get to that next week, I guess. But we're doing SEC next week. But
there you go.
He said, because he hates Lincoln Riley. He hates Lincoln Riley so much because he had an opportunity to go to LSU and decided not to. And so he hates Lincoln Riley because he avoided the SEC. He said that USC should fire Lincoln Riley and hire Deion Sanders. I mean, he's just, look, I think Deion Sanders gets a lot of hate that he shouldn't. I think based off the polls that we put online, there's a lot of Colorado stands that are just waiting in the wings, waiting for them to be good, and then they're just going to jump out and be like, boom, we told you.
Hey,
and it's
our polls showed it. They think they're going 10 wins or more.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that. Honestly, I think the line for them right now is like 6 games on like FanDuel or something.
Yeah, I have ESPN Bet
Yeah.
because Twin Spires doesn't do football.
They do not.
Shout out to Twin Spires.
Or don't.
What do you mean?
Oh, no. I hate Twin Spires.
You do?
No. The only way you get your money back is they have to mail a check to you. So stupid.
Really?
In this day and age.
That's funny.
They mail a check to you for you to withdraw your money.
Well, yeah. So I'm looking up. What are you looking up? Wins?
Yeah.
We
Just
should
look
look
up-
prep. This is bad. This is bad.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll get there.
It's fine. Colorado's plus 3,000 to win the Big 12. If that's something you want to know. I'm not gonna find it. But yeah, I think Colorado. I think their floor is probably just like a very middling team. But I do
So-
think they have.
Colorado regular season wins. The over-under is 5.5.
Yeah,
That's
I think
exactly
that's
where we have them.
yeah. I think that's fair. Honestly,
5.5.
that's fair. But like, I do
Can't-
think they have the ceiling to be a good team.
So Arizona's is 7.5. We are hammering the over on that. Kansas State is 9.5. Kansas is 8.5. Let's see. Utah is 9.5. And then we also have Oklahoma State is 8.5. So according to this, the favorite to win is between Utah
And Kansas State.
and Kansas State.
I mean, that's everyone everywhere is picking Utah or Kansas State. I really have not heard anyone pick anyone else.
Arizona State's is 4.5.
I would pick the under.
Right.
Here's my thing about Arizona State. I like Kenny Dillingham. I think he showed promise in his first year. They just didn't have talent. Now heading into year 2, they've lost their quarterback. So I think they're in for a similar season, but I do think if they stick it out with them for a little bit, potentially it could pay off. All right, are there any notable teams? Just teams that like in the middle that you want to talk about?
Not really, because I mean, like, other than Colorado, which is everyone's talking about, the meat of the Big 12 outside of the 5 that I think have a shot, and the bottom 3 or 4. I mean, TCU, BYU, Texas Tech, UCF, Iowa State, I feel like are all just going to be duking it out in the middle. Like
Yeah.
like you could turn on that game, it could be a good game. You just don't
Absolutely,
know who's gonna win. Yeah. So I mean, like, outside of that, it's like I don't think those teams are in that next tier, and I don't think they're god awful. I think they're all fighting to be bowl eligible, so those games will be important.
Yeah, I do think this potentially could be outside of the very tip of the iceberg here with the Big 12. I think it could be kind of a middling conference,
Yeah.
which is interesting. I did note teams that I have starting the season very hot and teams that I have finishing the season very hot.
Yeah.
I have Iowa. I predicted them to start 5-0. Well, Iowa State.
Iowa State. Yeah.
Iowa State. I predict them to start 5-0, which is an interesting pick because that means they would be beating Iowa,
Yeah.
who they have not beaten in some time.
Yeah.
But I don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Iowa State's gonna be good.
I also think, like, what is Iowa?
Yeah.
What is
I think
Iowa?
Iowa was able to take advantage of a god awful Big Ten West last year.
Yeah.
A god awful Big Ten West. They had a great defense, but my God, their offense was so anemic. I've got Central Florida starting off 6-0.
Oh, wow.
Which is interesting because I have them finishing 8-4, which means in my predictions they finish the season out 2-4.
Yeah.
Which is a bad finish. And the same thing with Texas Tech. I have them starting off 5-0, and then even after losing their first game, I have them going 6-1.
So you have them losing one, then bouncing back.
Yes. So they start the season 6-1, and then they finish 7-5.
Ooh. Is that just because of the way the schedule came?
I think that's a lot of what their schedule, how it makes out, because Texas Tech has a very, very easy start to their schedule.
I mean, considering the fact that Wow, they honestly could. I mean, realistically, you have them 5-1. I mean, they could still beat Washington State, though.
Well, I have them beating Washington State. I have them losing to
I won.
Arizona.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, like, definitely 5-0 because their first test is until Arizona, if we believe our predictions.
Yeah, and it's at Arizona, so that's
it
is a tricky one. But yeah, I don't know. Texas Tech could be.
Texas Tech has a very easy schedule.
They have a manageable schedule. Yeah.
I mean, for the Big 12, it's a very. Yeah.
And then, so my hot finish teams are: I have West Virginia winning their final 4 games. I have Kansas State winning 4 of their final 5. And then I have Arizona winning 7 of their final 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think I've got Arizona getting off to a little bit of a rocky start and then finding their footing.
There you go.
But yeah, that's our predictions.
For the Big 12, absolutely.
So between a Kansas State Utah championship game, who do you have?
Kansas State, Utah?
Mm-hmm. And I think they play each other in the regular season.
You know what? I think I had Kansas State over Utah.
They do not play each other in the regular season.
So I'm going to go with the Utes.
All right. In a hypothetical, in that scenario, Utah, Kansas State, I would go with Utah. In my scenario, where it is Utah, Arizona, I believe Utah would also win that. I think Utah they are poised this year to go on a run. This is their year. This is the best year they've had in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that they are going to be very, very good.
There you go.
So,
all right.
That's our predictions, I think.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yes. Now, on to the news.
Which there isn't too much.
There's not a whole lot. It's that time of year where, God, you don't want to be in the news.
Unless it's something good and notable.
It's almost never good, though.
I mean, like, everything we have right here, though, is good for the most part.
But, like...
We're just lucky week on the good news.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to be in the news in July.
No.
It's like the worst possible.
Here, I'll ask you this much.
Yeah.
Have you been keeping up with the TBT tournament?
I have.
What did you think about that? Even though this is technically, it's collegiate, but it's not collegiate.
Sort of. There's alumni teams.
Yeah, so can you enlighten the people at home who don't know what this tournament is?
Yeah, the TBT is short for the basketball tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a stupid abbreviation. But,
it very is.
Because everyone inevitably just ends up calling it the TBT tournament.
Because it's like Throwback Thursday or whatever. It's what I feel like they were going for.
Yeah, but then it just becomes the basketball tournament.
Right.
But that's beside the issue.
We digress.
Basically, it's kind of like an invitational tournament where people can just like form teams.
Yeah.
And you compete in this tournament, and the winning team splits $1 million amongst all the people involved. There are certain requirements.
Really?
To make that, yeah. You have to have like a certain presence on social media because it's not big enough. So a lot of what the TBT does is, they very much are like, who's going to bring the most eyes to us?
Oh, yeah.
That's who we're going to bring on.
Invite, yeah.
Yeah, like Shaq has a team called Team Diesel.
Oh, okay.
They lost recently.
Oh, dang.
But
I believe, from what I've been able to follow, it seems like Auburn has a team, Kentucky has a team, U of L has a team.
There were 29 alumni teams.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And we were down to the round of 16 now at this point?
Yes.
And they play tomorrow on Wednesday, right? I thought the next games were Wednesday.
Do they? I can pull up the schedule.
Sure. But basically the tournament, from what I've gathered, it seems like to be a bunch of alumni teams coming together, of former college teams, and like not in a way of like it has to be like the 2013 national championship team for Louisville or like the 2012 national champion team for Kentucky, but it's just like a culmination of just getting guys together who also just happen to be from the same alumni or some form of association.
Yeah, there are teams, like there's a Memphis-based team, and it's just people from Memphis. Stuff like that. But so of the alumni teams that are still in it, Indiana,
okay,
Penn State, and Pitt, they play each other. That's a rivalry. That's
yeah.
That's fun. Ohio State is still in it, their alumni team. Houston's alumni team. Marshall and Kentucky. Interestingly enough, Marshall, their alumni team, they play in the TBT quite often. They're very good.
Oh, there you go.
Shockingly. I mean, it's Marshall.
It is Marshall.
You wouldn't think so, but they're very good. Colorado's alumni team is in it. Kansas's alumni team is in it, and so is Louisville.
Is Kentucky not in it? I thought Kentucky was still
Kentucky's in it. They're
Okay,
playing Marshall. Yeah.
7 o'clock. To the 24th.
Yeah, no, you were right. It's Wednesday and Thursday is when they play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a fun thing. It's definitely like, it's kind of like rooting for your team if you have an alumni team in there, or rooting against if, you hate, if you're one of those people. It's good.
It's also
I'm
pretty,
fueled by hate, too.
I mean, it's also pretty cool because it's like, it gives a bit of nostalgia in a way watching these 30-year-olds and remembers from like good 18 years ago. I mean, like,
yeah.
To be fair, there are a bunch of young guys in it too. Like David Johnson's on the Louisville team. He is what, 22, 23?
He's 23.
Right. So I mean, like,
yeah. The rule to be on it is that you cannot currently be
in the
under
league.
Contract for any professional league. So you can't even be under contract for overseas.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's sports that's happening right now. If you want to watch something,
yeah, it's on Fox
the
Sports 1 or
like
Fox. Yeah.
All right. So first bit of news we have is Alabama is naming their football field after Nick Saban.
Bear Bryant has a stadium. Nick Saban gets the field.
Yeah.
Seems only fitting.
I mean, that's kind of just quickie news.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Like,
greatest coach of all time, and then arguably the second greatest coach of all time, and Bear Bryant
University. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
I mean, good.
I don't have any issues with that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. It's great. Excited to see Nick Saban on College Game Day.
Oh, is that official?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah. So next up, we'll go to the Untold thing. So Untold, I think we literally talked about it last week.
Yeah, we talked about how much we do not like their storytelling because
basically that's Netflix's version of 30 for 30. They're just trying to quickly pump out as many documentaries as they can to match 30 for 30's catalog. So they, in an effort to do that, they have a documentary coming out on August 27th called Sign Stealer. It's about Connor Stalions.
Checks out.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say there.
Man had a manifesto.
I guess we'll watch it when it comes out, probably.
Yeah,
but
see what happens, yeah. I mean, I
can't imagine it's going to be that good.
Unless there's something that we just don't know. That is, if we get into like why he did it and decided to do it and all that stuff, I am interested about that aspect.
I will say this: there are some good Untold documentaries. I can't completely crap on it. There are some very, very entertaining ones.
Yeah.
You seen the one about that like minor league hockey team in was it Connecticut? I think.
have no clue what you're talking about.
There's a minor league hockey team in Connecticut that was run by the mob.
Oh.
It is, oh my God, it's like one of the most entertaining like sports documentaries. It's so fun.
Okay, I'll have to give that a watch.
Yes. All right. Now, back to the Dave Aranda talk that I promised earlier. Yard Barker, which I've never heard of, but they have a list, so we're going to talk about it. They put out their coaches on the hot seat for the upcoming 2024 season college football. They only have 4 coaches on the hot seat, which I feel like there's more. There's definitely more than 4 in a normal year. I don't know if they only do power conference football, because there's got to be guys on the hot seat at other jobs. But
right.
I digress. So they have the big 3 on here that everyone's been talking about: Billy Napier, Dave Aranda, Sam Pittman. But they also have Ohio State.
Ryan Day.
I don't know why I said Ohio State. Thank you for correcting me.
No worries. But that one's interesting. I personally feel like the expectation for him this year, because of the way the playoff is set up now, is that he has to win a BCS Bowl to not be on the hot seat. And I think that's pretty valid. Doesn't necessarily have to win it all or anything. To be fair, they have gone all in this year with their transfers.
I think they just have to beat Michigan. I'll be honest. I think that's what they're mad about.
Oh, they'll do that this year. I think if that's the bar, he's fine.
I just think they're mad that they've lost to Michigan 3 years in a row. Personally, that's what I think it's about.
That's the take.
Yeah, because
he's fine then.
I mean, he's been the coach there for 3 years. They have made the playoff once. They almost beat Georgia. They just missed a game-winning field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been good there.
Yeah.
I just that's job pressure. That's what
That's just what the expectations are and the levels when you put on a Buckeye uniform.
Yeah, I think Matt Norlander was the one that coined job pressure. Basically, that means like it's what he said. Like
the expectations.
If you are going 10-2 consistently at Ohio State,
that won't cut it.
10-2 consistently is great. It's great at some programs, but
for
Ohio
like 85-90% of programs,
exactly
10-2 is great.
But for Ohio State, you got to be going 11-1, 12-0. You
have to be
legitimately competing for national championships.
You have to be putting up, quote unquote, even though they don't do this in football, a banner. You have to be consistently competing for a banner.
Yeah,
for lack of better words.
Which actually 10-2 might be able to get you there now if you're.
No, absolutely, it will. I mean, there's a lot more wiggle room.
You see, in the NFL, there were coaches that are just good playoff coaches. You kind of see this in college basketball too. Yeah. I think we're gonna start seeing things like that in college football as well. I think we're gonna. Yeah, I think we're gonna start seeing coaches where it's like, they're good regular season coaches, but like.
We're also going to see a month longer of football, basically.
Yes.
Rather than having this gap after Thanksgiving where we're off for 3 weeks all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We're going to be playing football, really competitive football, consistently.
Yeehaw.
I mean, this season just got a month longer for really good teams.
Yeah.
So, I also think it's not just going to be about how well you play, but season got 33% longer if you go to distance. That's a lot more football. Not to mention, if you're that good, there could be something to be said about wanting to be a team that doesn't make it to the conference championship just so you can have a week of rest and make the playoff. Like if you could be that 10-2 team that you're flirting with not possibly getting in, but you could get in.
Yeah.
Like to be on that 9-10 line, maybe not have the home field advantage for the first week, but have a week of rest.
Yeah. No, there's definitely there's some game theory going on.
I do think, I mean, you obviously don't want to do that, but I mean, like, there might be something to be said about having a week off to rest up for a big game.
Well, I think there's something to be said for, like, the final week of the regular season where it's like, okay, if we win this, we're going to the conference championship game. But if we lose this, we're not, but we're probably going to the playoff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll play our starters for the first quarter. Or maybe we don't play them at all.
I do wonder that. I wonder if, because it's now turning into a true playoff, if it's like, okay, bag has been secure, we're resting guys. Like, we'll see that at the end of the season, to where like we do in the NFL.
I think you might see that from some coaches.
I do wonder that.
I don't think you're going to see it from every coach. I think there's some coaches that are like, no, we're going to win every single game.
Well, I do think there's the expectation where, like, if you do rest, is it... Hopefully it pays off, but then it's also
the old rest versus rust debate.
Huh.
But yeah,
that could be a new aspect coming to college football rather than because of the expansion of the playoff. Every game matters a little less now.
Yeah.
So a little bit room for error.
I mean, the trade-offs is every game matters slightly less, but there's more hope. One loss doesn't tank an entire season.
Or it's like, if you're making the conference championship game, do you rest guys for that game? Or do you just win to try and keep your odds of being in? Because if you do end up losing the conference championship game, you're out. So,
game theory.
Yeah.
You got to play it. You got to play it how you think will best suit you.
Those are thoughts. Absolutely.
All right. More football, but this is at the FCS level. For now, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. Montana State recently broke ground on a $25 million indoor multi-sport practice facility.
$25 million for FCS?
It's a lot.
That's a ton.
Mm-hmm. This is the only indoor practice facility that they have, and it's going to be multiple sports, including, of course, football, which is the biggest sport at Montana State. This also comes as they recently landed a 3-star quarterback to commit to them at the FCS level. Interesting. I want to posit the question, do you think this is just normal investment into sports? Oh, they got a 3-star. That's basically like getting a 5-star at the FCS level. Or do you think Montana State is trying to like lay the groundwork to make the move to the FBS?
I mean, definitely $25 million in infrastructure definitely says so. The 3-star, you can always get a really good recruit once in a while, you know. I mean, if you give a good package and you offer best opportunity and playing time and all that stuff, and now with NIL and...
You could also potentially say, hey, we're going to be an FBS school very soon. So if you want to play for an FBS school, we're on the table.
So that would be what, Mountain West Conference they would join?
Potentially. They could join the Mountain West. They could also join the Pac-12.
Oh, yeah. That is a thought. I would say the amount of money, I mean, unless they just... $25 million is a lot of money for any school, let alone an FCS school. So, I mean, like, that is a statement in itself. The 3-star quarterback, I wouldn't look too much into.
I think it's just that in conjuncture with the $25 million facility. I do think, and also, you know, this past season we had Jacksonville State and Sam Houston State both moved up. This upcoming year, we're going to have Kennesaw State, and then next year, we're going to have Missouri State and Delaware both move up to FBS as well. A lot of schools are taking the opportunity to be like, oh, no, we want to be part of realignment too, but our realignment is going from the FCS to like Conference USA or the Sun Belt or, you know, whatever. And I think that Montana State, I feel like they're probably looking at the landscape and they're like, yeah, I mean, we could do that too.
Yeah.
Also, it's a good football program historically.
It is.
You know what? I was curious. So I looked it up.
Yeah.
They have 3 championships.
Montana State?
Yes. Only one of them is at the FCS level.
Huh.
One of them, their first championship was at the NAIA level.
Okay.
And their second was at Division II.
Oh, wow.
So they really have just steadily moved up the ranks.
Moving up the ladder.
Yes. As opposed to their in-state hated rival, though, Montana. They have 2 FCS national championships. So, what's the better program? Not for me to say.
I mean, time will tell. But I mean, like, if you're getting that type of investment, either you just want to be the best at your level, or you're trying to make the jump.
I personally think they're trying to make the jump.
We'll see.
It does create an interesting question. If you are like the cream of the crop of FCS, do you want to move up to FBS? Like, if you are Montana State, Montana, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, do you want to make that move? Because all 4 of those teams could move up and they could join the Pac-12.
Yeah.
That I feel like that would make sense. South Dakota State and North Dakota State are stretches, but that would make sense. And I think the Pac-12 would just accept them at this point. In all honesty.
Does it make sense for them monetarily? Yes, it does. I mean, if Division I gets the most eyes, I mean, it would make sense if it's feasible. Like, if you can make the jump, make the jump. But there's something to be said about and being able to compete at that level. I mean, if you feel like you can be competitive on the field and build a brand, absolutely do it. But that's the question. That's the risk you take.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to be is like a Kennesaw State who just sucks, or just be like a.
Do you mean like sucked at FCS and then they're moving up, or?
Well, I mean like just FBS. Like right now they suck. Like
no, they haven't played a game at FBS yet.
Right, but I'm just saying like.
Do you mean Sam Houston State?
Yeah, any one of them. You could really name.
Well, Sam Houston State was the one that was terrible last time.
Right. I mean, like.
Kennesaw State has not played a game as an FBS member yet.
Fair enough. I'm just saying, like, last thing you want to do is be a really bad team.
Yeah, you don't want to be a doormat just because you're making more money.
Also, it's like, would you rather be competing for national championships at a D2 level or be fighting for bowl eligibility at a D1 level? That is another thing. It's like, do you care more about the accolades at a lower level and possibly be in the pitch for getting D1 talent at a D2 school? Or do you make the jump for monetarily sake and then you know that those national championship aspirations are gone?
I mean, Montana State's won it at multiple levels. They kind of have a history of being really good and then moving up and then getting really good again and then moving up.
Yeah. I'm just saying D1's a whole different beast. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, technically FCS is D1.
Yeah, FBS. I apologize. But I mean, like, at a certain point, let's be real. In football, realistically, at most, it's like 8 teams every year that have a shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, you could make a case for others, I want to say, but
I'd say it's kind of like 5.
Right. I mean,
I think so.
I just stretched it to like 8.
Yeah.
But like, what I'm saying is like, do you really want to make that jump, or do you want to be one of those 5 or 8 in the FCS?
I don't know.
So that is something you have to contemplate.
Yeah, I don't know, but it is interesting. And honestly, I think if the Pac-12 does want to rebuild and remain the Pac-12, I think they're going to have to pluck teams from the FCS.
Have to make a good pitch.
I think the 2 Montana schools, maybe NAU, Idaho.
NAU is D1 in some stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah, they're FCS.
Huh.
So that is technically Division 1.
It is interesting. Yeah.
It's interesting
We'll see.
to think about, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out in the end. All right. Final thing before we go, because it has been pretty light as far as news goes.
Yeah. The Olympics start on Thursday.
I think they start Wednesday.
So they start tomorrow, actually, and the opening ceremony is Friday the 26th.
Yes. And that Friday is when, like, I think most sports kick off.
Yeah. And I love me some good Olympics. I'm a big fan of the Olympics.
I don't think that's a unique take.
Oh, I love them. I prefer winter over the summer, but hey.
What?
Oh, yes.
You prefer the Winter Olympics?
I
have never heard anyone say that.
So let me explain why I prefer the winter over the summer. The summer ones, for the most part,
Okay.
are all things that I have the ability to do. At an elite level, no. But I have the ability to do it. Now, if you were to get me on a mountain and tell me to go alpine skiing, hell no. No shot in hell. I've gone skiing before. I suck at it. And you're going to tell me to get on a bobsled and dress up like a sperm and go barreling down an ice chute at 80 miles an hour? No chance. I'm not doing it. I also, you want me to go down a half pipe and do spins and twirls? You're lucky for me to ride straight down the half pipe on a snowboard, okay? Like, the X game levels of, like, the Winter Olympics are far supreme as those compare. Like, you want me to get on a ski and what are we going to do? Or we're going to jump off a chute and we're going to fly through the air? No shot. But I can run. I can jump. I can do a forward roll and do gymnastics a little bit. I can swim. Not great, though. I can throw a ball in a pool. All these things.
I think what you're describing is exactly why a lot of people like the Summer Olympics more.
Oh, I completely agree, because people can do it at an elite level. I cannot do it at an elite level at all. But I can do all the basic foundations. I wouldn't even know where to begin to jump off and do whatever it's called, like long jump skiing, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, the more they're like,
and then they just, like, their feet are at their head. Like, yeah, no, I just can't do that. And so whenever I watch it, I'm, like, always extremely impressed just at, like, the person that finishes 9th, because I can't even do it. And then the person that finishes 1st, I'm like, holy crap, that was amazing. That's my take on the Olympics.
I just don't care about the Winter Olympics.
Oh, they're great, man.
I don't care about them.
Oh, come on, I can barely skate. You want me to speed skate around a short track?
I mean, can you skateboard, though?
Skateboard?
Yeah, can you skateboard?
Yeah, I can kind of skateboard. I can do an ollie. I can do a kickflip.
Then, you can probably translate that to snowboarding.
Never really tried snowboarding. I'm not gonna lie. I've only tried skiing. And my oh my.
I don't have that the rich blood. I can't do
But
it.
anyway, enough about my preferences over Olympics. I
I don't know. I just think that's a crazy take. I'm
I
not gonna
don't
lie.
think it is a crazy
No, it
thing.
is. I've
No, it's
never
pretty
heard
great.
anybody say that.
Oh, I love the Winter Olympics. It's
I've never
great.
heard anyone say that.
It's fantastic. But anyway, there are some notable collegiate athletes who are going to be competing in the Olympics this year, and some of them I feel like got a decent shot at winning some medals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher these names, so please help me out. Emily Asmus, water polo. She goes to the University of Southern California. Is the youngest student athlete to make the U.S. water polo team. Good on you, Emily. We're going to be cheering for you. Jade Carey of the gymnastics team was the 2020 Olympic gold medalist on floor. She's returning again this year. She goes to Oregon State. She won the 2024 National Championship silver medal in all-around and floor exercise, and the 2024 regional champion on beam, floor, and all-around. I believe for the regional that is referring to the Pac-12. So, very good gymnast there. This one I'm going to really butcher.
Might be Giuliano.
Yeah, Chris Giuliano of Notre Dame. He is ties the record right now for most Olympic events to compete in, alongside a well-known swimmer in Kay Ledecky, and was the ACC Swimmer of the Year this year, and is a 6-time All-American. He has a chance to win a medal, I truly believe. So keep your eye out for him. Peyton Jacobson.
Yeah. Just think it's Jacobson.
Jacobson. I was Jakob. But Jacobson, a wrestler from Northern Michigan, is competing in the, I don't know this type of wrestling, but the Greco-Roman wrestling. He was the U20 World Team gold medalist and the 2021 Pan Am Championship silver medalist. So he's already won a silver medal at a national level, and he was the best in his age category for this wrestling. And then moving on, we got a fencer in.
Let me try to say her name. Tatiana Nazlimov.
She is one of the few people to qualify for both the individual and team events in women's saber. I don't know how you do team saber.
I don't know. I've never watched fencing.
You never watched fencing? I've watched the individual one. I've never seen like the
Individual
team one.
epee.
Sure.
I think that's what it's called. I only know that because I had Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Did you ever play that?
I did. It was
That's a
so much
great
fun.
game.
It's fantastic.
I wish I still had it, honestly.
They finished third in the NCAA regional competition. Next, we have diving in Carson Tyler, Indiana. First American in over 2 decades to qualify for Olympic Games on both the 3-meter springboard and the 10-meter platform. He is also the American Cup bronze medalist 2024 and Canada silver medalist in the 10-meter. So he'll be repping his home country of Canada in the diving. And then we also have Haley Van Lith. She'll be playing 3-on-3 basketball. She is from TCU.
Yeah.
She doesn't really have any personal accolades because she's never won anything at the collegiate level.
She made a Final Four.
Never won anything. Won a regional.
What do you mean she won a regional?
Well, I mean, like Final Four region, yeah. But yeah. Best of luck to you, Haley. Gretchen Walsh.
Look, the animosity for Haley Van Lith is not there for me anymore. She left LSU. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, it's whatever. Gretchen Walsh swimming from Virginia. She's a 6-time gold medalist. Oh, yeah. So she won 6 gold medals in last year's NCAA tournament. Very good swimmer.
They give out gold medals in the NCAA tournament for swimming?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
So basically, it's like for each event.
I just thought it would be like a trophy.
Oh,
I didn't know it was a medal.
Yeah, and then where was I? She is also the youngest swimmer to qualify for the Olympic trials back in 2016. So she's been completing at not an Olympic level, but at least a U.S. women's trial level since 2016. So that's another good swimmer to look out for, who could possibly win something. Next we have Juliet Whitaker of track and field. I'm a two-time NCAA champion. Finished third in the 800 meter in the U.S. trials to qualify for that event in the 800 meters. It's pretty cool. And then Nico Young, who is a very good long-distance runner.
For NAU, baby. We were just talking about him.
Yeah, absolutely. His brothers actually have, twin brothers have a YouTube channel that's very cool to watch called the Young Brothers, who are very good cross-country runners as well, who are just now enrolled at NAU too, but that's besides the point. Nico is the older brother who is a 2-time NCAA indoor champion and a 2-time NCAA cross-country champion. Placed third in the men's 10K at the U.S. Trials to qualify for the 10K event at the Olympics this year. But those are some notable people to look out for. Personally, I think the swimmers are the ones to really watch out for, and Jade Carey is probably the person to beat on floor this year as well.
The one that I'm most excited to watch is Haley Van Lith because it's basketball.
There you go.
So they're doing 3-on-3 basketball for women.
That is what she qualified in. I'm trying to figure out what
they don't have full basketball, like 5-on-5 for women.
Yeah, they do.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, they do.
You sure?
Yeah, the Olympic team just lost to the team WNBA. There's going to be 5-on-5 women's basketball.
All right. It's weird they have 3-on-3 then.
Well, it's going to be both. It's newly added.
Yeah, I know, but it's weird. Yeah.
I'm trying to find out who Haley Van Lith's teammates are.
I know Cameron Brink was supposed to be.
Yeah.
One of them, but she got injured. I'm very excited though. They do have flag football.
Oh, that actually is a thing this year?
Yeah.
Huh.
They're gonna have flag football. So that's gonna be fun. Basketball, of course.
Oh wow, it's her, DRC Hamby and Ryan Howard.
Yeah.
So I know Ryan Howard was the #1 overall pick.
Ryan Howard's very good.
She is extremely good.
Yeah.
So and DRC Hamby, I assume that's a big. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
Fun little a little trivia time.
Yeah.
When was the first modern Olympics held?
Modern.
Yeah.
Modern.
Basically, like modern means since they've been doing it again. They held there was the original Olympics in Greece, like during the Greek Empire.
Right. Way back.
Yeah. Way back in the BC times.
Mm-hmm.
But
modern.
Yes, modern.
So the way I look at modern is based off of a history lesson. Would be post-industrial revolution.
No, that's not modern. That's not modern when we talk about the Olympics.
I don't know then.
Okay. It was held in 1896 in Athens, Greece.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They were actually planning on holding the first one in 1900 in, I think, Paris.
Okay.
But then they got so excited, they're like, screw it, let's do it now. And they did it in Greece.
Okay.
And so that was it's been going every 4 years ever since 1896.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting stuff. And I knew that Greece was always the first team introduced because they created the Olympics.
Yes.
So
I just recently got a shirt from the 2004 Olympics in Greece.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I will be wearing that one next week. Who knows? You got to check it out if anyone's watching this late.
Hey. But
hey.
Hey. Well, hopefully we'll see it.
Yeah, you got anything else to add? Or
no,
are we
not
all
really.
good?
I'm just excited for the Olympics, and I will be gladly tuning it in on NBC to watch it.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for this week. Hopefully you stayed to the end, and hopefully you'll watch next week to see that Olympic shirt. It's a nice beige. All right, we'll see you next time.